Welcome to our behind-the-scenes chat with Billy Carson of ForbiddenKnowledge.com. Billy's definitely been out there for a while doing this sort of work and finding the anomalies on Mars and navigating the path into Egypt and looking at certain sacred objects and sacred temples in different ways and finding out the science-based material behind them. The catalyst for you and your transformation, your awakening as a human on planet Earth and this body as Billy Carson, this go-around, what was that like for you, going back in the years, and how did you get to this place of a higher consciousness around these subjects and having a little more open mind? How did you get this far?
It goes pretty far back. I'll bring up the subject about the UFO in my backyard when I was 8, but even further back than that, going to the third day home from the hospital as a baby and remembering what I was fed. I was a 10-month-old baby, which was bizarre. 10 months and 10 pounds. So I'm sure my mother wasn't too happy about that, rest her soul. But the third day home from the hospital, I was actually fed table food, and it was actually bluefish. And I remembered that. And one day when all the family was around, I brought up that subject, and everybody was blown away. I said, I remember that. And I had been reading and reading actual books by 7, 8 months. So I had a little bit going for me, a little bit there in the beginning. But by the time I was 8, I was living in Opelika, Florida. We had moved from New York to Opelika. It's in Miami. And we lived by the Opelika airport. Now, the Opelika airport, the airplane, it's closed now, but back then the airplanes would literally fly over every 15 minutes. I mean, you can count it like clockwork. And one day I would go in the backyard to go look at the airplanes go over, and there's this gigantic glowing orb, and it clears the entire horizon in like 3 or 4 seconds. Now, this is amazing because an airplane, they're usually about, 20,000 feet up by the time they get to that part of the sky, but it would take them like maybe 5 or 10 minutes to clear the whole horizon point. It's, they're moving slow, but they're moving fast from our perspective. Well, this thing went straight across the horizon. Then it came back, stopped, and left out the way it came in. And I was blown away. I didn't know what happened, what it was. The word UFO didn't exist to me. The word flying saucer didn't exist. All I knew was I had to find out what this thing was. I went to the library the next day at school, Rainbow Park Elementary, down in Miami. And I started digging through every single encyclopedia. No internet back then, sorry, this is the 1970s, guys. So in 1970s, I'm aging myself, I'm digging and reading through every encyclopedia. I'm going to finding out about the STS supersonic jet. I'm finding out about different military aircraft, swept wing crafts. I'm finding out about tanks, submarines that launch missiles.
Whole new world.
Everything. And I'm finding all this stuff out, and I'm blown away by it, but I'm not finding what I saw. So the journey really started back then, and it turned into a series of private meetings that I would have with certain friends that we would discuss these types of weird things and some of our own experiences.
How would you trade back and forth? What would you use?
But back then it was just talking. In the 70s it was talking, so there was nothing to trade back then. When we got into the 80s, it became trading VHS tapes, because we would find VHS tapes, lost tapes, information from other people that had recorded at different little private banquets at hotels and so forth, and we would trade this information back and forth and share it around amongst each other. Then as we got later on into the 80s, into the early 90s, it became cassette tapes. Then it went to CDs, then eventually evolved into DVDs, and then it went to internet forums.
Now it's blown open.
Then it's blogs, now it's social media, now it's wide open. So from the 70s all the way to 2017, there's been a shift in consciousness, a shift in awakening, people starting to realize what's really going on, and people asking more questions about what might be going on. So it's really progressing. And when people say, oh, it'll never happen, or people will never wake up, I go, what are you talking about? I mean, you got to know where I come from. I've seen it go from a handful of people to now just one Instagram account has over 500,000, 500,000 people following one Instagram account that I have. Yeah. So, if you add up all my accounts together, it's almost 1 million followers. So people want to know what's going on. People have questions. People are truth seeking. And not all these people like everything you post, but they're looking. They want to see what potentially could or could not be out there.
And that kind of reminded me of something you said, is that once you were turned on to this knowledge, it came to find you after time. It just, the synchronicities lined up. So talk about some of those synchronicities as far as how things have come to you and that knowledge has then been verified.
Yeah, it's really amazing because once you are turned in and tuned in, the knowledge will find you. You don't, I mean, I still seek knowledge, but for the most part, knowledge really seeks me out, and it finds me in the weirdest ways. It comes from epiphanies, just weird things that just come up, weird questions that you, and like, I guess you get them from the universe and you ask yourself, and then you go research it and find out, okay, this information is really, there's some validity to this. Let me dig into it deeper now and find out what I can put together with this. People contact me unexpectedly and send me information. I've been able to meet some pretty prominent people, ex-CIA, ex-FBI, people that you would never think, that people who are trying to be whistleblowers and really come out with information because they don't want to go to their grave with this information, and it comes to me. People look to me as a stepping stone or a way to get their information out there to a bigger public, broader public. So it really does find you. Then there's a lot of synchronicities, and you find out information about one topic, but it opens up the door to something totally different that's kind of related, but maybe not, but it opens it up, and now you're over here.
Yeah.
And then that opens up something else, and it just...
I feel like you're describing the perfect Gaia experience.
Absolutely.
You log in, and you find something, and it's a gateway to something else, or it opens a door for you to experience something else.
Yeah.
That's exactly how the platform kind of needs to work.
Absolutely.
It's a chain of events to get all this knowledge into the right people.
Yeah, and there's so much stuff on that Gaia platform, it literally blows me away, because when I log in and I go to truth seeking, or I go to information about pyramid power and energies, and then after it's over, you see all these other options you can select from. And some of them are kind of related, but some of them aren't. But when you start digging into those, you go, wow, this is great. And I have to tell you, people say, oh, you know everything already. No, I don't know everything already. The second that I say I know everything, I'm lying to you. I'm learning all the time. I learned some stuff from the Greg Brading episode. I'm learning stuff from Gaia's videos. There's over 7,000 videos, and I'll never be able to catch all of it, but I'm having a great time with it.
So some of the science-based evidence that we're seeing out there, people are falsifying their science. And one of those things that we wanted to talk about was flat Earth theory.
Correct.
I want you to take a stab at that. Go for it.
Flat Earth theory is an admitted CIA psyop. And it literally preys upon people that are susceptible to fanaticism, unfortunately. And it's really a divide and conquer technique to separate truth seekers from coming together. And they found a way to psychologically, literally attack people and get them to go in a slightly different direction and put everybody at odds, and it's really worked. There's a big image going around, it's viral on the internet. It's a picture of the Earth, and it's flat. But what they've done is they've taken out of the entire 360-degree globe, they've taken about an inch of that globe and snapped it out and made it into an image. When you take that image and rotate it, it looks like it looks like the Earth is flat. 1 inch, 1 inch or 2 inches. Now, everything in images is made of pixels, including even our own bodies. The further down you go, the more pixelated things get. So if I take a very small piece of something, it's going to appear to be blocky or blotched or square or flat. When you look at the whole picture and see where this image literally fits right in where it came from, you realize it's a scam. You realize it's potentially paid propaganda that's been put out there, and now it's gone viral. It's so unfortunate because it's very easy to prove that the Earth is not flat. First of all, let's not talk too deep into science. Let's talk basics. Mm-hmm. You're standing on the shoreline. My height, I'm 6'4". Let's say you're about 6 feet tall. At 6 feet tall, you can see the Earth's curvature drop 8 inches or curve 8 inches every mile. So on a clear day, you can see approximately 3 miles out, okay? 3 miles out, clear day from the shoreline. As ships come in, they appear to be rising from beyond the horizon point, and as ships leave out, they appear to be dropping below the horizon point. Now, if I go into a building or a ladder, if I have a ladder right there and I start climbing this ladder, for every meter that I go up, I'm gonna see an extra almost just under a mile out. Mm-hmm. So if I go up, 1 meter, I'm gonna see 4 miles. Go up another meter, I'm gonna see 5 miles, so forth and so on. So as you go up, your perspective changes. So you're able to see further to the horizon point. However, you can never see the other side of the planet because the curvature is always there. You just have a better perspective to a certain point that you can climb up or go up into the tallest skyscraper. Other than that, the only thing you can do then is go up into the sky and go up into space where you can completely see the curvature. The other thing that they're trying to say is that NASA has lied and they provide these fish-eyed lenses. Forget NASA. What about the research students at Harvard? What about the independent astronomers that have sent up their own balloons that have gone into the stratosphere? These aren't fish-eyed cameras. These are inspected regular cams that have gone up into the stratosphere and have taken pictures of the Earth, and you can see that it's a sphere. Let's also now forget, I'm trying to stay away from NASA's images, so let's go now into ancient times. Let's go into the ancient Sumerians. Let's go into the Anunnaki. And the ancient Sumerian tablets, which they have left behind 1 million tablets carved in stone, they have never, ever, ever talked about a flat Earth. There's this rumor that the Anunnaki and these ancient Egyptians were talking, they never once in anything have ever said anything about a flat Earth. Again, more lies. Matter of fact, when you go into the Sumerian tablets, you find that Anu was taking Alalu to his prison terminus, which was going to be on Mars, Lamu. And they orbited, they said they did, I think it was 5 or 6 circuits around Mars, which is orbits around Mars, before they found a good landing spot where they landed. They also, Enlil on his way to Earth, he encircled the planet several times before finding the official landing spot that he decided, okay, this is where civilization is going to start. So again, they're talking about orbiting spheres. Mm-hmm. Then they name every single planet in our solar system, their size, shape, and color. Okay, so if you go into ancient, forget NASA, let's talk about the ancient text. Carved in the stone, they're talking about spherical planets. Mm-hmm. Now, if you look at the Peri-Reis map, the Peri-Reis map is a famous map that has been discovered that even shows Antarctica before there was ice on it. This map is amazing for one main reason, because when you look at this map, it's taking from a specific point in space. So if you're directly above this, with this map, the way that it's drawn, it's directly above Giza. So directly above Giza, something up there originally drew the first copy of this map from that perspective. That's the perspective that the angle of this map is taken from. Okay. Scientists have found this out, and it's completely baffled scientists. But again, it's a sphere. So I can just keep going. If I take 2 sticks that are the same size, and I put 1 stick in England and 1 stick in New York, the stick in England is going to have a different shadow than the shadows on the stick in New York. If the Earth is flat, how come both shadows aren't the exact same? Mm-hmm. Okay, it's because the Earth is curved, and we're rotating on our axis, and we're orbiting the sun at the same time. These are just basic, simple ways to prove.
That's good science.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
And so using that in the same vein, then talk about your United Family of Anomaly Hunters and how you apply science to that rigor and to your experiences opening up the can of worms that is all these satellite images and rover images from Mars. These are actual images that are being broken down into amazing extrapolations. So talk a little bit about
actual images. And before I start on, I want to debunk one thing, debunk a debunk.
Sure.
All these images are coming from Arizona, or is this island out there somewhere? I forget this island that they called. Those are islands and locations where the rovers test practiced. Right. And those images were put on NASA.gov and other places, European Space Agency. They have to test these things out. They can't just send them to Mars. Right. So again, propaganda people have taken images from the test recordings and put them out there and say, oh, this is where they are. No, they're not there. They're really on these other planets. These satellites have really left and gone to other planets.
And these are free to the public.
Free to the public.
The ones that are actually from Mars. And
we paid for them.
Yeah, you can go online and navigate to them
absolutely
free of charge.
People just don't know where to look, but they're on all the major space agency websites. And what myself and a group of us have done, the United Family of Anomaly Hunters, we have come together as a team, and we've literally downloaded over the last few years over 1 million images. And there's more than that there. Can you imagine how many images? There's probably 5 or 6 million images available to the general public that we paid for, citizens of the world. But we've downloaded about 1 million so far, and out of those 1 million, we've gotten about 50,000 anomalies.
Wow.
So what is an anomaly? An anomaly is an out-of-place object, something that doesn't appear to belong in that frame or in that image. So if we're seeing rocks or stones and we see something next to it that's more of a box shape that looks like a structure, we go, okay, this looks like it doesn't belong here. So then what we do is we pull it into Photoshop, we take away the fake haze that they put over these things and some of the smudging that they put on. And once we see to our eyes that it appears to be something that definitely doesn't belong, then we present it to the group. and the group analyzes it, and they go, yeah, this is definitely an anomaly. This is a structure, this is that. It doesn't belong. Let's put this one up.
Is there one that you can recall right now where it's just a mind-blowing view?
The greatest one that I've ever discovered is the one on Mercury. And I went to Mercury because NASA put out some high-resolution images. I mean, the highest I've ever seen. They normally put out very low resolution. They call it high-res, but it's really not. It's garbage. Once you zoom in, everything breaks apart. This particular image was so high quality, I think it was like almost 15 megabyte download. I said, I gotta download this thing and look at it. I downloaded, I pulled it into Photoshop. As soon as I zoom in, I started seeing structures. And I'm going, what in the world is this? I mean, it blew me away because I'm thinking Mercury, boiling, scalding hot, everything they taught us.
Right.
I started digging into the research, Mercury messenger data. I pulled that down. Find out that Mercury is not what even they thought it was. Mercury has organics on it. Mercury has billions of tons of water on Mercury. Mercury actually rotates on its axis 61 days to every Earth day. So it takes 61 days for it to spin once on its axis, which means most of the planet is never in direct sunlight. Wow. And on top of that, you have the poles, which are extremely cold and have ice, billions of tons of ice. And the other parts have billions of tons of liquid water and organics, as admitted by NASA. And what I discovered was this giant one facility, which is so massive because you can use a measuring tool. It's approximately a building that's 1 mile wide. Now, on the side of this building is a tower. That tower rises up almost 2 miles into the sky, and it's backed up to this, what might be a crater full of water. So maybe this is a water refining plant. I mean, who knows? Who knows what this thing is? They probably live underground if they live there, and maybe this is the way they cool. I mean, who knows? We're all speculation at this point. But the fact that this structure is really there, it's a clear as day, no obfuscation. I didn't have to change anything. I didn't have to delete any colors or nothing. This is the image, the way it looks, and I'll give it to you so you can put it up. This anomaly is there, rock solid there. There's no question about what it is. And when you see it, you're blown away, especially when you realize how big it is. Because I haven't seen a mile-wide building here on Earth yet. If there is one, I haven't seen it.
Some of the stuff that you've showed us on Mars is just outrageous. It's so cool to see. It appears that there's, warrior helmets that are just sitting there as if they're left over from a very large bomb blast. There's all sorts of structures and different anomalies that you guys have pointed out over your research. Talk a little bit about the Mars energy and the anomalies there, and maybe what some of that landscape has been through.
Yeah, Mars is a very amazing place because you can see that it had almost 2 different types of civilizations living on it based on what we've discovered. Because we're discovering anomalies that appear to be modern and some that appear to be ancient. It's a mix. And when you start digging into the ancient texts, and you discover that the actual asteroid belt used to be a planet, and that planet collided with a moon of Nibiru. And this information is in the Atrahasis story epic. So when that happened, Tiamat blew apart. A piece of Tiamat swung into where we are now, Earth's orbit, and became Earth. It was an organic water-bearing planet. The rest of it shredded into pieces and became the asteroid belt. Mars was actually a moon of Tiamat. So was Pluto. Pluto got slung far out. Mars went into its own elliptical orbit around our sun. That's why it's got a very weird orbit. And then obviously you have the asteroid belt there. So Mars has been through a lot. One side of Mars, the side where the planet most likely exploded, that side of Mars is probably the side that was facing the planet because it's charged. There's one side that's charged and one side that's smooth. So it might have been that side was the side that was facing the planet when it actually exploded. So that caused one catastrophe. I think millions of years went by, and then Mars kind of, got back on its feet again. But then I think wars came to the planet, and we found tanks, we found guns, we found all kind of weaponry, we found dead bodies. And it really appears that the second catastrophe might have been man-made or humanoid-made type catastrophe, and that's what it really appears. So as we dig deeper and start to find these flooded out places and find these structures that are broken up and broken apart, but we find a lot of tanks and a lot of weapons. Why is that? Why do we find so many weapons on Mars? Even handguns, we've discovered handguns. So there was, maybe it was called the God of War for a real reason.
Right, Mars, God of War. So as far as the chemical content of Mars, the xenon that can only come from an atomic explosion, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. A scientist discovered that and NASA now even confirms it, that there's a heavy xenon gas within even the soil of Mars, which is evidence of weapons, explosive weapons, not just any kind of weapon, but nukes, nuclear blasts. And even a scientist in 1941 observed a humongous explosion on Mars from Earth, and well documented. And now they're trying to say, researchers are trying to say that potentially that could have been a nuclear bomb going off even at that time in recent history. And I kind of really concur with that, because some of the structures that we've discovered on Mars appear to be made, we can't say they're made of steel, but they appear to be made of steel. And if they're made of steel, we went to some metallurgists to ask them, how long can an object survive exposed to elements like this? And they're saying, well, even in low oxygen atmosphere, these objects wouldn't last more than 80 years before turning into dust. Some of these objects that appear to be steel are not even deteriorated at all. Wow. So we're questioning, are some of these things, 80 years old or less? I mean, what's the case here? Are these? How much of this stuff is ancient? How much of it is really recent? Is that breakaway civilization there? Did they go to war with somebody? So it really raises a lot more questions than answers.
So this is kind of arcing into a little bit more of a personal question. Do you feel supported by energies unseen? Is there you can call it angels, you can call it other beings, but is there a certain amount of energy that you feel that you're not aware of as a physical presence or as a visual presence, but is there something out there that's supporting you?
I really do believe so, and I can tell you that it got stronger after I had the incident at my house in about 2008, when I had the experience with actually coming a close encounter of the fourth kind with actual real aliens in my house. There was an experience that I had there where they came right to my face, and they were two grays about 4 feet tall, because as me sitting down, they were right to my eye level. And whatever they did, it started shaking my brain severely. I was trying to scream, I couldn't scream. There was no communication in terms of anything I can really understand, but it happened. And I'll tell you, after that, a lot more information started becoming a lot more clear to me, a lot faster. Mm-hmm. Quantum physics, grasping it, really understanding the link between quantum physics and spirituality, almost like a unified physics. But grasping it to the point where I can lecture about it, I can talk about it, I can interact with people who are actually in college about it, and then also to the point where certain things that I talk about and post about, a lot of the information comes to me before I even go looking for it. So information will literally come to me, and I will have to go research it to see, is this even possible? And then find out that it's true and that it really exists. It's kind of a reverse way of getting information, like somebody or something is sending it to me, and then once I get it, I go and verify it, and then if it's real, I put it out there. I'll tell you something amazing. I don't know if you can go on tape or not, but I have this is something, and I wish I had my other phone with me, the one that they maybe give back, Note 7, because I had transferred all my images here, but I can confirm this with many, many, many people. Light bulbs blow around me. Street lights go out. When I drive down the highway, street lights literally turn off. Wow. At night. Not all of them, but randomly they turn off. Lights in parking lots. I'll walk up to the light coming out of the grocery store, it turns off. I back up, and then I started recording them. I have a couple on this phone. I have to dig them out and find them for you,
because now I got somebody down. Yeah, throw them on the image.
Lights flash. I get in my car. There's one place, the light bulb right in front of my car starts flickering. I'm at the Conscious Life Expo. The light bulb above my head starts blinking like crazy. I'm recording that. I might have that one on my other phone that's in my laptop case here. I go into a hotel room. As soon as I come and turn the light on, the light blows. I'm having an argument, unfortunately, with my previous wife, and the hi-hat in the ceiling right above her head explodes. It comes down on her head in front of all my kids, all my family members. But this is and all the light bulbs in my house that I had in Weston, they all eventually started going out, and I kept replacing them until finally I just stopped replacing them. And we just had some lamps with the twisty, what do they call them? Halogen, not halogen, but they're incandescent bulbs or something. But that's just bizarre. It really is bizarre. The biggest one was the mall. We were walking through the mall, lights go down. We leave that area, the lights go on. We walk back in the area, lights go down again. We walk out of the area, lights go up. So it happened so many times. I started recording this to a point where I had like 400 or 500 of these anomalies. So because at one point when you have so many, you have to say, okay, this might not be an anomaly. This might be really happening. So that's why I started documenting them. You know?
Cool. Billy, talk to us a little bit about technology these days. The amount of information that's put out there on the internet, the personal information that's put out there. How do you deal with your standard element of posting all this energy out there? How do you get through knowing that the government or other governments, global governments, have access to all of this information that you're putting out there?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and a lot of people always want to know how did I get this big, and how can I keep putting this information out there, and how come I'm still alive, and all this other stuff. And it's almost like they wish I was dead. Some of them, not all of them. I have received death threats before, which
that's
I say.
Another podcast.
Yeah, I know. One of the things people have to realize, everything is being tracked, everything is being watched, every cookie is being tracked, every cell phone you ping is being watched. Not just even making a call, just as I travel around and my phone pings towers, all those are being kept. All that information is being calculated and kept. So they're always watching. People go, oh, I hate Facebook. Well, Facebook owns Instagram. It's the same company. What are you talking about? You gotta know what it's all the same. It doesn't matter what you're on. It's all being looked at and watched. And people don't realize I've been shut down on Instagram before. I've been shut down on Facebook. Literally now for the last 4 months, I've been shut down once a month to where I can't post videos. I can't post live feeds. Certain images I can't post. Right now, I'm on another suspension on Facebook right now where they won't let me upload any video directly to Facebook. I've got to go through my side account to upload it in there. But the main account that I normally use, I can't upload any videos. And they do this to me on a consistent basis, taking me in and taking me out, taking me and taking me out. Almost as if they're getting me, trying to get me to quit or stop or whatever the case may be. A lot of my posts get reported all the time. Some get taken down. My biggest suspension was 3 weeks where I couldn't post, even like or comment or anything. I've had quite a few images deleted from Instagram. So sometimes you go back on my Instagram history, things are gone. So even a few times I've gone and taken the warning that I've gotten by email and posted that so people can say, look, I'm really getting targeted here. And what I really figured out are ways, even though I've gone through those situations, I've figured out ways to maneuver, different ways to word phrases and put information out there, what words to tag and what words not to tag. I learned my lesson. Don't tag CIA, okay? It's all about technique sometimes. Is some of the reason why a lot of my posts are able to go. And I post a lot of content in each post, which turns it into almost an article. So I'm not just straight bashing, I'm actually educating. So those different techniques have helped me out a lot. Another thing that has helped me out a lot, I really, really feel, is putting myself in the public eye. It's a lot harder to do something to somebody when they become a public figure versus somebody who's just hiding in the shadows and putting out information. That person, you can just wipe them off and nobody will even know any different. And when I realized that, I started really putting myself in the public eye, because when Forbidden Knowledge first started, it was just the image of the Eye of Horus. Nobody knew who I was. As I got further along, I realized that if I want to really take this knowledge to the masses, people have to see my face. I need to make myself a public figure. I need to get myself out there so people can correlate the two. And if there is anything that happens, at least people will know, doggone it, I died fighting. But I put myself out there so that it's less likely to happen. And again, it's really all about technique, but everything is being watched. I mean, they could be listening to us right now through the cell phone. There's nothing. Some people, I put tape on my thing. Listen, no matter what you do, they know what you're doing. They know where you are. They can track you. They can find you. But again, it's a lot of the times for me, it's come down to technique and how I do things. And I think that's allowed me to continue to go. I've still got to get better, because I got to figure this Facebook thing out, because they're really trying to eliminate me on Facebook. I really, really feel it. Because the last message I got from over there, where they're going to evaluate my Facebook page, and I mean, I don't know what that means. Mm-hmm. I'm not posting fight videos. I'm not posting, murder scenes or this other crazy stuff that's out there. But they keep targeting me. So I'm not target free, guys. They do attack Forbidden Knowledge, so.
Well, keep it up, man.
Yeah.
That's quite a feed that you present to
Thank you.
Your audience, and Gaia loves you for it. So
Thank you.
stay with it.
I am.
Billy, thanks for coming on the program.
Thank you, man.
Really appreciate you being here on campus.
All right, great.
We'll see you next time.